I feel like I've become a better actress because I've experienced life,
Yeah.
gone through hardships. I've had babies. It's hard,
Yeah.
and now I have a puppy at home. That's hard too.
Yeah.
But you find who you are through all of that.
Yep.
Welcome to Set Life, where we tell stories from our industry. I'm Kelly Leger, and this is Amber Buteau.
Welcome to Set Life. I'm Amber Buteau, and today I have a co-host with me, one of my favorite guys, Hosanna. Thanks for sitting with us today. Yeah,
It's always fun.
Yeah. And we have a great talent with us today. She actually is talent. She's an actress and does many other things, but Jessica Lee Wrabel. Welcome
Hi.
to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the show, we talk a lot about kind of our journeys, how we got into the industry. Did you always know you were going to be in the industry? And we kind of end up at what you're doing currently in the industry, but kind of how you got there. What does that look like? And take us back to where it all started for you.
Sure. So I was 3, right? It always starts early.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, before I could talk, I was singing and making up words and songs. And then my first role in Cinderella was to be a mouse when I was 3, and it's just taken off from there. And so a lot of theater, musical theater growing up, and my mom kind of got me into the more professional side of things with film and TV when I was 10. And so we lived kind of in San Diego. We would drive to LA. I had an agent up there, and it got so busy that the school even was like, okay, do you want to be an actor or do you want to stay in school?
Wow.
And so she had to make the decision for me when I was 12. So we pulled back on the acting stuff, and I, was a normal kid and did musical theater at school and the community and sports and all that fun stuff. So that it was since the beginning. I haven't stopped. I was always told, I was on a softball team. I played softball pretty seriously. And the softball team would always know that I'd miss a couple practices and games because I would have shows to go to, talent shows, beauty pageants, all of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And they would always be making fun of me. But I was like, hey, guys, you're allowed to do more than one thing.
Yeah.
So I always was doing it.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So it must have been a passion. I think it's
yes.
just been a natural passion for you. We have some people that come on that it's like, oh, I've been doing this forever. It's my ultimate passion. And then there's people that like, I didn't pick up a camera until I was, an adult kind of, later on, and then tinkered with it and then ended up making something out of that.
Right.
So this is something that's been kind of from the beginning for you.
Forever. I can't not do it.
Yeah.
So I went to USC for college in California, not South Carolina. University of Southern California, and majored in neuroscience, minored in musical theater. I knew that I was going to be in LA and do it. And so I had to go to LA for school, and the USC was the perfect spot for so many reasons. I love every experience that I've had there, but it was a real stepping stone, I would say, to creating a community of people who were incredibly talented and like-minded. And I still am working with a lot of people that I met in college, and worked with a lot of the grad program people who are making films there. And we're still making stuff together, which is super fun.
It's one of the biggest points I feel like we hear on podcast episodes is the connectability with others.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to have that. Every success story we've ever heard on here involves, hey, you know what? I met these people and I stuck with them.
Yeah.
Or I've done work with them, or I continue to do work with them. I love how that's just always highlighted.
Yeah.
It's a guarantee. That's that's the path to success, is you have to just unify with others. You have to have a relationship.
I say that about this industry all the time. You hear that cliche, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yes.
In this industry, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
100%.
definitely sure. So your network is very important from the very beginning. And I think some people don't realize that when they first start, because they're more career focused than they are relationship focused. And that always comes back, I think, to bite them to some degree.
100%.
Now, I'm also the one that's going to say, those relationships will only take you so far. If you can't deliver, you can't deliver.
Right.
Just to really honing in on your craft of
right.
What you do. So you went to college. Did you graduate from?
I did graduate
With a
college?
neuroscience
Yes,
major?
I have a neuroscience degree. completely related. So my advisor, who was renowned in neuroscience in the world, he told me, Dr. McClure, have to name
Props,
drop.
Dr. LeClaire.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he and I were very close, and he told me, I think after college you should not keep doing neuroscience. And yes, I did have A's. I wasn't a bad student. He said, I think you should follow your passion and be an actress. And he even offered to help me get started with a loan, which I did not accept, but it was super kind and nice of him. He's like, this is what you have to do. And I'm like, okay, if my neuroscience advisor is telling me to not do neuroscience, I should be an actress.
Yeah.
No, and that's what I wanted to do. And I started working for a doctor right after college, an ophthalmologist, and I was auditioning at the same time. And, it came down to a point where I couldn't keep going to a 9-to-5 job. I had to decide, and I did. And I quit that job, and I was only acting.
Yeah.
Pretty much since then. So that was 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's what I have to do.
So how did you refine that passion into a true talent?
Great question. I think practice, and I've had the opportunity to study under lots of amazing teachers, professors at USC, and just acting coaches in general. I love reading books and learning about the ones who have, made their way, the really famous ones that I could go through and name drop. But you know what else? Believe it or not, I listened to Matthew McConaughey's Greenlight book. Listened because his voice is amazing.
Yes.
And he made me a better actor.
Wow.
I don't know. It just, something clicked. He's totally wild and amazing. And listening to his book was like, turned on a light for me. And that was recent. He only wrote it a couple years ago, I think in COVID. And he spoke to me. And so, yes, it's all of the normal ways you go to class and whatever, but experience, practice, and just like letting go. That's what I feel like acting is being another person, finding that life, finding who they are, and just letting go. Like, let loose of your walls that are in the way.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And so practicing that over and over in different characters and different types and all of that is really
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, I think I could listen to Matthew McConaughey read like 12 Days of Christmas to me and still be excited.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Like
Right.
him reading anything would be great.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm going to have to check that out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's really cool. I don't act at all. Hosanna does.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Hannah has
Call it that.
Yeah, Hosanna does a really funny show, Cooking with Hosey. It's totally just improv and all kinds of. It's the joy of my life. Like he truly makes me laugh so much.
Fun.
But no, truly acting. I don't do it all, but I could see how you could get in your own head with it, trying to impress or perform, or that performance spirit that comes with all of that.
Right.
It's one of the things that we pray against here at the studio when we do things is, Lord, let us not have that performance spirit. Let it be authentic to what you want us to create in the story and the way that you want us to tell that. I think you just have to have a strong core to realize you're okay.
Right.
And to let it go.
Right. And that's where the beauty comes out of it. If you're judging yourself, which I 100% struggle with when I'm on camera, because I have an idea of what I want to do, or maybe I have an acting coach who told me, you need to hit this beat, this point, whatever, on this moment. But if it doesn't come naturally, it doesn't work and it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And so you really do have to just kind of forget who you are and not care. And then it could be beautiful.
Find a flow. And I think a flow in life goes in a lot of ways. I say I play tennis, just not acting at all. And I always say if I'm thinking, I'm hands down going to mess up.
Yes.
Hands down going to mess up because I'm going to overthink and probably hit it to the fence. Right. But if I'm just playing.
Right.
And you're in the rhythm of the flow of the game. Yeah, I'm going to do good. It's that same kind of flow that I think you've got to find in whatever you're doing. That you got to be in the moment. You can't overthink things, because if you're overthinking it, you're a beat behind.
Right.
Always.
Right.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. I mean, there's just no way around it.
Especially in tennis. I love tennis. I play all the time. And if there's a lot of hits in a point and you just want, if you're over planning, oh, on the next time I'm going to go cross court or whatever it is, just see the ball, hit the ball. My coach always tells me, just tone it down, Jessica, see the ball, hit the ball, and you are a good player. You know?
Yeah. Just let
Not
it go.
like
Just naturally let it come.
Look for something.
You know,
Right.
as it's changing, as it's moving, you're doing the same.
Mhm.
But without, this goes back to the idea of, okay, I can be a natural athlete, never played tennis ever in my life until COVID, then became obsessed with it. But
Yep, same.
But even though being a natural athlete, when I first started playing, it was a disaster.
Of course.
And it was so frustrating because there's a little thing called second nature that has to form.
Yeah.
That's where practice comes in. You know, you got to do it so many times. And that's what you were saying when you were listening to Matthew McConaughey's book, where, you know, letting go and then practicing letting go and then doing it again and again. Before you know it, you're just, that's second nature. You're just doing it. You know, you've ever been driving home and all of a sudden you end up home and you're like, I forgot I was going to the store. How did I get here? How did I get here? You know, you're like,
Scary.
it's, that's second nature. You're just on autopilot's what I call. So if your autopilot becomes a talent or a skill that you've refined, now it's starting to gin, you know, and that was one of the things I had to tell myself in tennis was like, you got 0 second nature. Everything is thought right now. So don't put yourself in an expectation that you're just naturally going to do it.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I feel like it opens the door for you to be creative in your skill set too, right? Like we talked about it with Brad on a previous podcast. Love him. It was great. But he said something that really stuck out. He was saying you don't always have the tools you have to work with. And so you have to be creative. Like you have to find a way if there was nothing for you at your hands to use. And so he made the comment, or we talked about it on that episode of, man, it's really easy for you to do that because you have your fundamentals down. You've nailed your like, I don't have to think about the things I shouldn't be thinking about. And I think that also relates into acting as well, where it's like, if I'm not having to think about the technical, I can be creative in the way I deliver that, or I can be creative in the way I'm acting on camera. Yeah.
Right. And like the 10,000 hours thing, right?
Yep.
It's like you do it so many times that it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay. So what do you think one of the key things were to the success of your career?
Okay, so I'm going to share a story.
Okay.
I met Henry Winkler at USC. His son was going to the film school there. And my mother, who was with me, it was parents' weekend, and we went up to him, and she embarrassed me a little bit. She goes, Henry Winkler, my daughter is an actress. How does she become famous? I'm like, Mom, you know, it's always
Like,
this moment.
thanks, Mom.
I was like, okay, whatever. Here's Henry Winkler to talk to him. And he goes, you need tenacity. You need to have tenacity. So he took the USC newspaper out of her hand and he wrote it big, bold, tenacity. And so I have taken that word and made it my own. I have tenacity and I keep going. I think that's what it is. So there's ups and downs. Everyone knows at least the rumors that actors, you know, you can book something, you might have a dry season, you book something, and you think that your resume might help you get the next job. But there's so many other factors in casting, what you look like, how you talk, how you connect to the other actor. There's so many things.
Yeah.
And so you're not really in control of that. You're in control of what you deliver, and that's that. And so I take that tenacity and I still use it now. So people who do know me well know that I love meeting people, love getting to know entertainment industry professionals, and you just take these relationships and you keep going. And it doesn't matter how many projects you didn't get or what friend took the project that you wanted or whatever. You need to be happy for them. That one wasn't for me, or that wasn't for someone else. That was for that person. And you keep going. And so don't stop, you know, and then also enjoy the auditions, enjoy the self-tapes, enjoy the classes, enjoy the acting. You are acting no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a series regular on a show for 3 months out of the year, you're still an actress or an actor. And yeah.
I think acting is one of those things where it's so easy to get your identity caught up in the yes or the no.
Yeah.
Because you're vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable in acting. So when you stand up there in front of people and they're like, yeah, no. So I sit on the other side of that table. And in my mind, I'm like, well, don't take it personal. You literally just don't look like the person. I mean, we loved you. We thought it was great,
Yeah.
but it's not going to work for that character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's nothing to do with at that particular moment. Like so much of the time, it's a lot of that.
Right.
You know, it's
Right.
trying to find that right. I did interior design, and I'm like, you could show me 100 blue couches, great blue couches.
Yeah.
If it doesn't fit the picture I have in my head,
Right.
then if it's not the blue velvet couch tuffled with the right legs on it, with the arm curvature to create the picture.
Yeah.
You went shopping for blue couches.
Just
I
recently.
can tell.
Okay. Actually, it's what lives in my head at all times. It's really weird.
I'd love to dive into that though. Like, so for any young actresses or actors listening, like what would your advice be for them to get out of that rut of falling into that trap of like, man, I'm just taking it too personal, or I'm just letting it get to me? Like, have you ever been in that moment? And then if so, like, how did you get out of that? What was your like, oh, I broke through it because of this?
Okay. So I still tell my adult friends who are acting, maybe just starting or whatever, who expect
Could be
to
anyone.
have success all the time. They expect that every audition becomes a booking. You know, I've told them honestly, I'm very honest too. I don't sugarcoat things to a fault. But I do tell them, listen, you just have to keep doing it. Like, is this what you want to do? That's the big question.
Yeah.
If you just want to do it for other reasons, money, success, fame, whatever, it might not be for you. If you want to do it for the art of acting and get those projects once in a while and have a blast, and that fuels you for X amount of time, months, years, whatever, for the next one, then that's the right thing for you to do. And so I encourage people, actors, young ones too, because I can talk about my daughter. She's 7, so she doesn't really have the rejection is not really a thing. She thinks that her self-tapes are great. She goes, I'm going to book this one. I'm like, great, you should book this one. And, excuse me, keeps falling. So I think if you have also more of a mind of a child, it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
They just do what's right in front of them, and then it's gone. And then sometimes she goes, what happened to that audition? I'm like, nothing. And that's fine. And here's another one. Let's keep going. And she's booked a bunch of stuff too. So she's always like, oh, I loved that last commercial that we filmed. When is there going to be another one? I was like, keep auditioning. That's it. There isn't really like a secret.
Right.
Really. You just have to keep going.
Perseverance wins the race.
Right.
It's true.
Right.
No, that's
exactly.
really good.
Yeah. How many no's do you think you get on average before you get a yes?
In LA versus here, it might be different because here I feel like there's more yeses. I also, so I believe in God. And God told me when I was young that you're going to have more success in acting after you have children, which is quite annoying before you have the kids. You're like, no, I want it now.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's more now in Houston versus Los Angeles. And I want to say maybe because there's less actors here, because I'm in an older category, I'm not the ingenue anymore.
Yeah.
I'm the young mom. And so there's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
And when you're in LA and you're 22 and you're auditioning for everything from 15 to 25, there's a lot of people, a lot of blonde girls who are all going for the same thing.
Yeah.
That have talent too, and that all look good on camera. So maybe it was harder then, but I also was, I think, pretty successful in Los Angeles. So I didn't really answer your question because what I do though is I forget. And so if I do a good audition, that's all I can do.
Yeah.
And then move forward. So I can't really give you a number. Well, I haven't really thought about it.
Well, that's maybe also an answer to your question in a roundabout way is don't keep score.
Yeah.
Don't keep score of those things. And allow yourself to be like, it is what it is, and keep going. And I am the no's in your lives are just not nows.
Yes.
It's good. It's a great way of saying that.
So
not nows are not right for you.
Yeah, like just keep going. There's gonna be a yes.
Right.
If you keep going. If you stop, there's always a no.
Right.
Like that's it.
Opportunity.
You've created your own no.
Right.
It just is a not now.
Right.
The people that have said no to me in my life and things that I've asked for or needed or wanted to work with or whatever. I mean, I've straight looked at them and said, that's just not now. Mm-hmm. Like if I know this is something I'm supposed to do, then it's just not now. And then you persevere towards it. you keep working towards it. And then I think those things work themselves out, and then you're not holding on to every yes and every no, and like, this is never going to happen.
Right.
And the other thing is timing. That's something you hit on too, is, you might have a look that's great, like you said, later on than early for who knows what reason.
I've been told some really funny things when we used to do in person in the room in LA. Someone would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You're a really good actress, but you look like my ex-wife. So no harm, but you're not going to get cast in this project."
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah. This is what I'm
Needed
saying.
that.
You just don't know. I mean, acting is one of those things. I think all creative, in my opinion, is subject to opinion.
Yeah. It's true.
Okay, so how much do you value the opinion of another?
You know, that's another thing too. I really work on not people pleasing.
Yeah.
As an actress, but as a human being too. And just, this is who I am. You can like me or not. You decide.
Yeah.
And this is who I am as an actress. This is my talent, and not trying to do what you think they want, because that's impossible.
Yeah.
For any relationship, but acting to casting director too.
Yeah.
So you are who you are. And that's the most interesting thing too, as an actor. If you see someone on camera, you want to see them.
Yeah.
You don't want to see something they're pretending to be.
Yeah.
You don't want to see that pretend. You want to see them bringing themselves to these different characters.
Yeah.
Because that's the interesting part.
Yeah.
But I think you got to know who that is.
You do.
Yep.
And maybe,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And my experience, I feel like I've become a better actress because I've experienced life.
Yeah.
Gone through hardships. I've had babies. It's hard.
Yeah.
And now I have a puppy at home. That's hard too.
Yeah.
But you find who you are through all of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Through many years of marriage, through all these relationships that you've had and experiences.
And I think some of us can tap into that younger than others.
Mm.
Some of us get there quicker than another. It's all part of the process. You can also lose sight, even if you knew who you were, but then lose sight of who that is. I think we all have that ebb and flow through life because you're always growing and changing.
Mm-hmm.
So your perspective changes at all times, which changes you at all times. I said to somebody last night, I said, unfortunately, when you go through a hard time and a war of some sort, so to speak, you can never undo that experience.
Yeah.
It is forever the way you see life. So you always got to be authentic to that, and understanding that you're going to change. So what you were, I told somebody again the other day, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. So if you're expecting that friend's not here anymore. That friend's changed to this person. This is who I am today. So if you want to do things like this, hey man, let's keep the friendship. If you don't, I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
But always self-evaluating through your experiences of life and how you've walked through life to bring that most authentic self to those auditions.
And also to all the relationships that you have too.
Yeah.
And I think, can I talk about networking for a minute?
Yeah.
So I think that is a leeway into keeping relationships with people. I help create this networking event. I think I decided a name on it, but I'm not quite sure. It'll be okay. I'm hoping to call it Hollywood in Houston.
Hey,
it has been going on for
that.
2 years, but I just figured this out 2 nights ago. So Hollywood in Houston, we're going to start calling it that.
All right.
A lot of networking industry professionals from behind and in front of the camera, and it's keeping relationships with these people. And some people think networking is just, this is who I am, this is what I can do for you, goodbye. Like, no, we're real human beings and we want to connect on a real human level. Like, who are you? Who are you? Let's get to know each other and share who we are and maybe have a soul connection, and keep that going, and then make projects together, which is so fun, and keeping that community. Yeah. I love bringing people together too, even if I'm the one helping a project get cast and be written and all these things, and I'm not a part of it. I still find joy in that.
Yeah, that's great.
I had a pastor tell me a while back, it was a line, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but he said something along the lines to, if your dream's not happening just yet, help somebody else's.
Yeah.
And it's just that, okay, you have a passion, I have a passion. We both want to do big things, or we both want to do some really awesome stuff in this industry. all right, cool, let's partner on it. You have
Yeah.
a film idea, cool, let's shoot yours. And I
Yeah.
know when we do that, like, you're gonna be more excited to partner in mine when that comes around.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, in this production world, it's everything is very passionate about what you're doing, but there oftentimes is that just live comparison that just sneaks in and just squishes all that passion, because you're like, all right, well, you're not really gonna like help me with that, so I'm just gonna go chat with somebody else at the mixer. It's like, no, like, man, just dive in with them, like, go in with them, because at the end of the day, you're gonna learn a lot of those same things that you would learn in life from saying yes to that.
Right.
You know, like, yes is like the best thing in production. Saying yes.
That's
Can I do that? No, but I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
You know?
exactly what I believe in too. And I feel like in Houston, the community of people here who are making features, shorts, commercials, everything is more selfless than in Los Angeles. I think it might just be people who live here in general. It's easier to live here. We're a little bit happier.
Yeah.
But I do love people in Los Angeles. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love it. That's where my heart is. But here, people do want to work together. It's not just me and what can you do for me. It's prettier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think the industry is so heavy weighted on who you know, fuels the I don't know, the desire to just like meet you, and not like truly connect, but it's like, what can I get from you? What can I get from you? What can I get from you?
Exactly.
Right. And my approach to the industry when I got into it was know what you don't know, be humble, and add value. So it was more like, hey man, what you got going? This is great. How can I help you do that?
Yeah.
Because if I can help you do that, what do you think he's going to want to do?
Say yes.
Help me do what I
Yeah.
got to do, right? Like, if you can add value to people, but that's how you, in my opinion, should approach life in general. You should approach people of, how can I add value to the people that I meet in my life on the daily basis? Because that comes back in a positive, good way. So if we can approach relationships in this industry the same way,
Right.
it's going to foster and give back. I mean, all my crew here, I feel like all of them have a heart to do that. And they are always all helping each other. And, you know, we were talking with everybody coming through filming today with some guys out front, and it was one of the crew members that's here. When he first started, had, you know, some work, but now is like, I can't hardly call him because he's always booked, you know, and I'm like, okay, listen here, buddy. But that's exactly,
It's awesome for him.
that's exactly what we talked about when I met him. Was like, hey, I just poured into him, and I was like, you just keep saying yes. You keep showing up. You keep being kind like you are. And one day, I won't even be able to book you anymore. I just won't. You'll be so busy doing the thing that you've been saying yes to that it won't.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened
Right.
over a year's time.
Right. That's awesome.
You know, and that's the heart of just, from the PAs to the editors to the directors to the cinematographers, everything that comes through here, cast that comes through here, you know, we all try to help each other, add value to each other. Like, hey man, we got this project. Can you do it? Or
Say
have
yes
you
and
heard
try to
of
show
it?
up.
You know,
Yeah.
Did you hear of this? Or I got this email today that's talking about this in the industry.
Yeah.
Send it on. And, you know, just really trying to build a healthy community.
Yeah.
That works together and fosters greatness from everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
You want them to outgrow you's the idea.
I was about to say, like, there's a good community here, and it's you tap into one person, and that leads to like 5 more.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see that it's really mothering and fathering. It's what's happening. It's like, even as young creatives, you're still seeing that, because whether you're taking a person your same age and you're like, well, hey, you don't have any experience in this, great, come on over here. I'll teach you on the fly. It's going to cost me time on the production set, but that benefits all of us at the end of the day.
Yep.
It's just good mothering and fathering in production. It's really fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's all keep big hearts.
Yeah. Okay, so loved your story. You're acting now. How do people get in touch with you now? Like, what does that look like? Tell us how to follow you. Tell if somebody wants to reach out to you and have an acting question or any of that.
Sure.
Tell our audience how to do that.
So, I mean, all the socials. So it's at Jessica L. Wrabel, and I have to spell my last name because no one knows how to spell it. Wrabel.
Yep.
So that's my Instagram. And so Jessica Lee Wrabel, anywhere. Lee is Lee. And then, yeah, I like to go to a lot of the networking events around town also. So I try to show my face and come with friends and meet new people and connect people and
That's
all
great.
that. And then I have my own as well.
Yeah,
So
That's great. And a few things that if somebody wanted to look at your work.
Okay, so I'm on IMDb. You can see credits and photos and reels there.
Okay.
And if you want to log in and search me on, casting networks and breakdown services, which is Actors Access on our end, those are available as well. You can just Google my name and you can find what I do and pictures and videos. And I'm a singer too, and you can see some of that. And yeah.
That's
So
great.
Jessica Lee Wrabel, because if you just type in like Jessica and spell my last name wrong, I don't know what will show up.
Slowly you see my face.
Don't
It
do
is
it.
not me.
Yeah.
It's something weird.
Or like my brother-in-law is a famous singer, so if you just type in my last name, you'll see him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, very good. Well, thanks for sitting with
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
I love your heart for the industry and the networking.
And it's getting
community.
bigger in Houston. We are
Yes.
doing it and it's growing.
Amen.
And there's so many good things coming.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Josie?
This is fun. We're gonna have fun for the rest of the day listening to more people come share stories. But yeah, this was a blast. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you.
And for everybody out there cooking with Josie, that's
Oh,
that's what y'all got to see. Real
we
talent.
go.
Real talent it goes.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Set Life.